Hi, my name is Haruna.
Hi, my name is Francisco.
Hi, my name is Panji. So we're gonna show you video about biodiversity and ecosystem in Stanley Park.
What is biodiversity and why it matters? Biodiversity is the variety of life on Earth. It includes all living things such as plants, animals, fungi, and even tiny microorganisms, as well as the ecosystem they create together. Every tree, bird, insect, and plants play a role in this connected web of life. Forests, river, wetland, and ocean link these species and help maintain the balance that allow life on our planet to survive. Biodiversity matters because it directly affects our everyday life, including in cities. Trees and plants clean the air, reduce pollution, and help cool urban areas. Birds, bees, and insects pollinate plants, which is essential for growing the food we eat. Without biodiversity, many of the systems we depend on will begin to fail. Biodiversity also helps communities respond to climate change. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, wetlands reduce flooding, and healthy ecosystems are more resilient to extreme weather. Protecting biodiversity means protecting the natural system that support life. By caring for biodiversity, we create healthier, safer, and more sustainable communities for both people and wildlife. Why Stanley Park is important for biodiversity? The first thing is large protected green space in an urban area. Stanley Park is one of the largest protected green space in an urban area, covering over 400 hectares in the heart of Vancouver. It's more than just a park. It's a vibrant biodiversity hotspot where forests, wetland, and coastal ecosystems come together in one place. The second thing is habitat for wildlife. The park's temperate rainforest is home to towering Douglas firs, western red cedars, and hemlocks, creating a rich habitat for hundreds of species of plants and animals. Bald eagles soar above the treetops, raccoons explore the forest floor, and salmon return to the park stream to spawn each year. Stanley Park provides safe shelter and essential resource for wildlife in the middle of bustling city. The third thing is coastal and forest ecosystem in one place. Stanley Park also includes coastal ecosystem along its seawall. Rocky shorelines, tidal pools, and beaches support marine life, from crabs and clams to migratory birds. The combination of forest and coastal habitat in one park makes Stanley Park is unique. The fourth thing is community and conservation. Beyond supporting wildlife, Stanley Park provides opportunities for people to connect with nature, volunteer, restore habitats, monitor species, and help maintain the park ecosystem. Visitors learn about biodiversity while enjoying trails, lakes, and beaches, strengthening the link between humans and nature. For the summarize is, by protecting this urban oasis, Vancouver ensures that forests, wetland, and coastal habitats continue to thrive. Stanley Park is not just a park, it's a living example of how biodiversity can survive and flourish even in the heart of the city.
Stanley Park is one of Vancouver's most popular attractions, drawing millions of visitors each year. While tourism allows people to connect with nature, it also puts pressure on the park ecosystem. Trampling of trails, littering, and disturbance of wildlife can harm plants and animals, especially in sensitive areas like wetlands and old-growth forest patches. Being in the heart of the city, Stanley Park faces significant urban pressure. New buildings, traffic, and stormwater runoff can affect soil and water quality. Noise and light pollution also disrupt wildlife behavior, making it harder for animals to feed, reproduce, and thrive in their natural habitats. Climate change adds another layer of challenge. Rising temperature, extreme weather, and changing rainfall patterns can weaken trees, reduce water level in streams, and alter habits for both plants and animals. Some species may struggle to adapt, putting the park's biodiversity at risk. To address these challenges, Stanley Park has implemented conservation efforts. Volunteer helps restore habitats, remove invasive species, and educate visitors about respecting wildlife. Signage and park rules guide tourists to minimize their impact, ensuring the park remains a safe haven for diversity. Despite heavy tourism, urban pressures, and climate change, Stanley Park continues to be a vital refuge for by understanding this challenge and taking action, we can help protect this urban oasis for generations to come.
Do you know any interesting history about Stanley Park?
Well, Stanley Park was given to us by the Governor General of Canada. His name was Lord Stanley, and I believe that was in around 1880. Stanley Park has changed over the years. We used to have quite a large zoo there, but in Vancouver we decided several years ago that we didn't want to have a zoo anymore. We didn't want to have animals living in captivity, so we got rid of our zoo. We also made some changes to our aquarium, which is also part of Stanley Park. As far as the wildlife goes, we have many small animals that are indigenous to this area. We have squirrels and things like different species of birds. We also have raccoons, which are really good for the environment because they keep the rodent population down. So yeah.
Why do you think biodiversity is important?
Well, for many reasons. It's important that we've got the number of trees that we have in Vancouver and in Stanley Park, which has an enormous number of trees. It's good for the production of oxygen is one really good reason of having it. As far as the biodiversity goes, when you're in Stanley Park, you can see all kinds of different things. We have a vast garden in there, which is beautiful during the summertime. A really big rose garden, but we also have other things too. We've got a couple of lakes in Stanley Park that maybe not everybody is aware of. We have one called Beaver Lake, which is in the middle of the forest, which is really interesting to find and to go for. We also have Lost Lagoon, which attracts lots of birds, and that's also really important for our diversity.
So what changes have you seen in the local environment over the years?
Well, some of the changes that I've noticed are that one thing that's really interesting is that eagles have started to come back to Vancouver, and seeing them around town is really cool. The local environment over the years, well, we've been losing quite a bit of the city's city-owned land. There's been a lot of development going on in Vancouver. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But, yeah.
Okay, so do you think people in Vancouver are taking care of their environment?
Well, I think so, because recently in Vancouver, well, over the past 20 years or so, we've had a real movement going towards recycling. We've got an extensive green bin program in Vancouver, as well as collection depots for plastics and glassware and anything like that. So I mean, steps are being taken to look after the environment. Yeah.
Thank you. What can residents do to help protect wildlife and green spaces?
Don't litter. I mean, that is very, very basic. That's something that just because when people litter, it not only takes away from the enjoyment of these green spaces, it also does things like, well, when birds get a hold of plastics and things like that, that's really bad for them. Yeah.
Thank you. So last question, are there any parks or areas in Vancouver you would recommend for observing wildlife?
Well, in the city of Vancouver, I would say that Stanley Park is probably the best place to go and see that. But in the wider area of Vancouver, including the North Shore, like North Vancouver and West Vancouver, you get a much larger choice of animal choice. I don't know. You can see things like mountain lions, which occasionally we have them crossing over from the North Shore where they live. Occasionally a bear will find its way into Vancouver because bears live over on the North Shore. So so I mean, for the most part, if you want to observe wilder animals, I would suggest going over to the North Shore is probably a better place to look than right in the city of Vancouver.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
That's it. So thank you for taking your time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Bye.
You're a treat now for being good? Maybe? Still go. Okay.
What visitors and residents can do. Respect wildlife. Visitors and residents can protect wildlife by keeping a safe distance and never feeding animals. Feeding wildlife changes their natural behavior and can be dangerous for both animals and people. Stay on trails. Staying on marked trails helps protect plants and sensitive habitats. Going off trail can damage the forest floor and ecosystems. Reduce waste. Reducing waste makes a big difference. Using reusable items and disposing of trash properly helps keep wildlife safe and waterways clean. Follow park rules. Following park rules protects both nature and visitors. These guidelines help Stanley Park remain a healthy place for everyone. By taking these small actions, we can all help protect Stanley Park's biodiversity for the future.